Hey, what's up everybody? It's BDF 44 coming at you with another video. You heard me sigh when I turned on the video because I just got to watch the Laker game. I probably should have stopped and checked out the box score, so I'd have more stats to give you. I just got to watching the majority of it. I had a good link and everything. And we lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Second time in as many weeks. We were up by 19 in this one. Didn't get a chance to close it out. We had some very big shots hit by some great players, man. Carmelo Anthony hit some huge shots. Anthony Davis was out there doing good things. Russell Westbrook did some good things. HBK shined out there quite a bit. But ultimately, our defense just could not stop anyone. Effort was there. I liked the effort. It wasn't like we weren't sweating, weren't kicking out, to each other, being unselfish and doing all the things you want to see basketball players do. But we just could not stop anyone. And, there was a bad couple stretches down the stretch of the game. A couple things we let happen, You'll see some highlights. Some guys got hurt. It's a lot to talk about, man. But I think the most important thing that we need to mention is just the fact that AD did sprain his right hand. Carmelo Anthony, I think, had something go on with his hand too, but he played straight through it. So did AD. They wrapped it up, played straight through it. But I think the little knick-knack injuries are starting to pile up for our squad, man. It's starting to get a little interesting here in terms of the injuries. We're running thin, and we didn't have Braun out there. He's going to be out for a week. So, we're running thin. But nevertheless, the schedule makers has it so that we're playing just about all of our old stars, old teams twice. We played the Rockets twice. We know Melo and Wesley played for both these teams, OKC as well. We played them twice, so it's like, there's a theme here. We played Cleveland, so they want to make sure that we kind of get all those teams out the way. And it's a lot of homestand games being played right now, which means our schedule's going to get tougher. A lot more road games ahead. Probably going to end the season seeing some very good teams in some weird combinations of travel. So I'm just expecting, the Lakers, as we continue to go through this situation where we're having issues with our health, all I know is that the schedule's going to get tougher. So we have to be very careful in not losing games like this, and we dropped another one. So this is not starting off well for the Lakers. I'm not surprised that our season's not starting off the way that we need it to, because ultimately everything that we've said is a new team, new, unorthodox fit. Everything is new. So yeah, but I'll tell you this, though. We've lost some games we should not have lost, and our defense is not improving, but the effort is there, and that's very discouraging. It's easy to say, oh, the defense sucked because the guys aren't trying, but that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing guys trying. I'm seeing guys failing. So you got to give credit to the Oklahoma City Thunder once again for keeping their poise in terms of having a 19-point deficit and still keep fighting. It got a little heated out there. Lou Dort and Carmelo Anthony had gotten a little bit of a scrum. Not sure what that was about, but it was in the fourth quarter. It was a heated moment. The Lakers were kind of, starting to settle into the fact that they were probably going to lose the game. I think or rather have to go through a situation where they could lose the game. And I think it started getting a little testy out there when we started realizing what was happening. Russell Westbrook had some good moments. I did like the fact that he continues to take his mid-range bank shot that I always say that he should take. I just think it's a high percentage shot for him, and it's one that the defense is never ever ready for. He made some good plays. I want to say all the good stuff first. He was very aggressive, but I gotta say, man, it's something to be said for players that give you momentum. They're the same ones who can take it from you, and that's what I've known, about momentum players. They find themselves right there niched in the space. And I say niched, I mean like I'm trying to say is nestled comfortably right there in that space where momentum is found. And they know how to ignite it, and they know how to snatch it from you. And Russell just snatched the momentum straight from our team at the end of the game with a play where he was just driving at the basket, driving into defense. I'm guessing he was going to try to use the same move that he had used several times beforehand, where he evaded the defense by swinging the ball his elbow high and just kind of bringing it down to avoid somebody. And this particular time, the ball slipped out of his hand and just flew out of bounds. And the problem was, it was a fast break off a rebound. Carmelo Anthony found himself at the top of the key after hitting a clutch shot right before that. And it was just a situation where you really want Russell Westbrook to pass the rock and not be as aggressive in driving to the basket in that situation. Granted, it's his game to drive to the basket and get fouled, but I'd much rather play the percentages. And in that situation, Carmelo being red hot coming off a fresh shot and hit a couple of fresh shots right there, you just want to see us continue to ride the hot hand and continue to go to what's working. Russell Westbrook took the last shot at the end of the game, bricked that as well. It's just, I gotta say, man, he's going to have to really work on just about everything that's necessary to kind of keep momentum going. I think that when you get to this stage in your career, it's not about experience. It's not about any of that. You just want to win. It doesn't matter if you think you've seen it a million times. Whatever's keeping you from that trophy, you got to try to incorporate those changes into your game. And I think Russell Westbrook makes losing plays, y'all. I just have to say it that way. There are things that you do when you know how to win, and there are things you do when you don't know how to win. And Russell Westbrook does things that show us that he doesn't know how to win. And I know that sounds insane for a player who's accomplished as much as he has. But there is no other way to say what it is that's on my mind here. There's no other way to articulate this thought. He just makes losing plays. Period. And while he can make winning plays as well, he's capable of making winning plays, certainly. The reality is he hurts his team more so than the average player of his caliber. In games like this, you just don't expect a player of his caliber to make some of the decisions that he makes, be out of pace the way that he is, have a lack of feel the way that he does at times. And you don't want to nitpick at a guy, but like when he's on your team, when you really get a chance to watch him, you actually see from night to night just the mistakes that he makes. And it's like, it's okay because he brings you something that no one else brings you, and that's an attack. Getting into the teeth of the defense and having that ability to do a lot really, really quickly. He's infectious with his energy. He rebounds the ball extremely well. That kind of stuff. So it's not like you're hating his game. He does make others better at times, you know what I mean? In his passes, getting guys in place to score easy buckets, particularly big men. He has all kinds of great attributes. But all of those attributes literally have to fight with his inability to make good decisions consistently. And because he's a ball handler, because he's such a superstar, relying upon his decision making does kill your team. And that's something that the Lakers have to find a balance for. You got to find a way to overcome that, and he has to find a way to absorb that truth and take the changes necessary to make the changes to be a better basketball player. We're not judging him by triple doubles. We're not judging him by all-star appearances. We're not judging him by scoring titles. We're not judging him by assist titles. We're not judging him by any of that. The only thing that matters is him winning a championship for this club with these men. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's what I would say to Russell Westbrook if he were in a room with me and we were having a drink. Like, brother, the only thing that matters in your career right now is making 2021, 2022 a championship year. Because I'm telling you, this is a special unit. It's not just your legacy on the line. It's like 6 other dudes with Hall of Fame legacies on the line here. And it's like when you cough the ball up, throw it up out of bounds, when Carmelo Anthony's red hot, he's hitting big shots. Anthony Davis may be hot, he's doing his thing. All these guys, Avery Bradley's playing great. HBK is hitting big shots, taking charges to the chest. I mean, he's throwing himself all around, making all these good decisions at, like, God knows, 21 years of age. And I look over at Russell Westbrook, who's been in the league for a million years, one of the top 75, 50 players ever played. And HBK is making better decisions than him down the stretch. I mean, cut and dry, just better basketball decisions. And this is not something I'm proud of saying or happy of saying. This is just what I see. And Russell will see the same thing if he watches the tape. He just has to find a way to slow down and make good decisions in this uniform. You know what I mean? Like, love the uniform enough. You a Laker fan like me. Love it enough to not let your team lose because of decisions that can be prevented. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit up here and just say that you make. I'm just saying that can be prevented. You know, that's how I want to articulate that. It's just certain things just don't have to be done. That driving at the basket in that situation, we had a full shot clock. We had a Carmelo Anthony at the top of the key. You got Anthony Davis over there. You got HBK in the corner. You got all these different options. There's no reason to drive into the defense. You understand what I'm saying? Driving into the defense. There's two people at the end of the paint. You're driving into them with no angle to shoot the ball, man. And you're trying to avoid. You're lifting your arm up to try to evade defense when you're literally walking toward it. You're moving your momentum into the defense in that motion. It was just a very, very ill-advised motion. I mean, play, like all the way around. It was just, when you see the play, what I'm talking about, you'll understand. It's just ill-advised. All he needed to do was slow the ball up. Like, that's it. There was no need for him to take it upon himself to do anything in that situation. I know he's used to being a man, but you got to play the percentages, bro. Just play the percentages. Who's a better shooter, me or this person? Oh, that person didn't get him the ball. You know, and that's just what I want to see. Smart basketball play, winning basketball play, you know. When you've watched as much basketball, winning championship basketball, you just know what it looks like, what you have to do to win. You know how guys close the basketball games out. You know how to manage the clock. You know how to manage your timeouts. You know what not to do in situations where you're not supposed to foul. You know when you're up 3, you should foul to get the guy to the line so they don't get... Like, there's certain things you do to close basketball games out. No different than in football. There's certain things that you do when you know how to win. And that's what I want to see Russell Westbrook establish in a purple and gold uniform. It's just learning how to win. You know? And it's like, it's not about winning basketball games. It's not even, to a degree, it's not even about winning close basketball games. It's just about the decisions you make down the stretch of any basketball game. You know? Just decision making. Because all of the good stuff that you do will get negated by 2 or 3 bad decisions that you make that ultimately snatch the momentum from your team. And that's, when you're a momentum wizard, you know what I mean? A momentum, I don't even know what the right frame of word would be, but when you have a sorcery over momentum like some players do, that's the best way I know how to describe it. When you have control of momentum like in some supernatural way, Russell Westbrook tends to have that. Few athletes do. He needs to understand just how to harness that in a positive way so that he can maximize opportunities to win basketball games. Because what he has to understand is that momentum, ability to hold momentum and to harness it is also something that you can do. You can snatch it from us. You know, you can completely just deflate an entire morale of a team. And there's a lot of things that lead up to a basketball loss, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things the Lakers could have did differently. I felt like there was a play by Carmelo he could have did differently. Took an early shot in the shot clock. I felt like AD could have stepped up when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander took a logo shot that made it a 6-point lead with like a minute and a half to go. One of the most incredible, fearless shots you'll ever see in your life by SGA, by the way. He was phenomenal tonight, as usual. He played a much better game tonight than he did in the last game because I got on his case about how he was shooting bad threes against us, just bad shots, but he made up for that tremendously. Josh Giddey was great as usual as well. That kid fills up the box score every night. He's going to average a triple-double one day if he keeps this up. I'm serious. Like, I'm dead serious because he looks to rebound and assist as comfortably as anybody, and then also he gets easy buckets because he's tall, you know, playing point guard. So I'm really, 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 really a fan of his game. So yeah, that OKC team has a lot more upside than I gave him credit for. I think they were a lot better. And I'm going to say this, and I hope I'm not being just flat out a jerk, but I think they were much better when they set down Pokashevsky tonight, or Poka. I don't know how to say his name. I never do. but he did not play his best basketball tonight. And I think one of the reasons why they were struggling so bad was because of some of the shot selection that he was taking earlier in the game that kind of was doing what I was saying, snatching momentum away from his team. Once they benched him and put guys like Ty Jerome out there and started using Lou Dort a little more, they trying to turn that thing around. You know, SGA was doing his thing. Josh Giddey was just doing everything he had to do to make guys better. They really played well, man. Derek Favors, as I gave him credit in the last game, got to give him credit again. He's leading these young guys. You know, he don't have no other vets up there with him. It's just him and the coaching staff, and he's got these young guys running around. So I give him a lot of credit for that. Yeah, you know, that was really it. The Los Angeles Lakers just allowed SGA to really dominate. He did everything he wanted to do out there, and we couldn't stop him. And that's a theme. You know, these young teams are coming in. They're giving us trouble. They're not allowing us to sit our stars. They're not allowing us to not play our stars. You know what I'm saying? It's a game where we wanted LeBron James to not even think about no basketball since he's injured. This was a game we would have much rather had AD be able to, you know, nurse that hand if he wanted to. But the fact of the matter is they were playing too well. They just weren't letting us do it. Avery Bradley is a brilliant basketball player. That's what I want to say. You know, I think about guys like Derek Fisher, who've played the game at a level that isn't considered Hall of Fame, but I know damn well we couldn't win any of the games that we won without him. Anybody that watched basketball back then knows how important Derek Fisher was to what it was that we were doing on both ends of the floor. I look at Avery Bradley the same exact way. He looks like Derek Fisher to me. Albeit on the defensive end, I think he's more gifted than D-Fish. But that's his role. He kind of does what D-Fish did, and he just does it to such a maximum degree in terms of being infectious in terms of his defensive intensity and his defensive mentality. Once he gets down there doing the things that he does, guys watch him and then try to mimic it. It's just infectious, and you can see it down there. The defense just kind of reels it in when he's down there. Even if we don't get the stops, the sequences are better. We force tougher shots. So that's something that I notice a lot. Dwight Howard was phenomenal in the first quarter. Absolutely phenomenal. He put himself in a position to do all the things that I want to see him do. Blocking shots, rebounding, all the stuff that you want to see Dwight do. But he played a smarter, more under control basketball game tonight. And I thought one of the reasons we did not keep our lead is because we didn't go back to him, which is something I've mentioned a lot of times in this. I don't know if I see this clearly because I'm not a basketball player, but it seems to me that we play a lot better when we have size on the floor. We rebound better. We have just better sequences altogether. Maybe we give up something defensively. Shooting the ball with guys like DJ and Dwight on the floor. I'll give them that, but as far as I'm concerned, I can tell we're not really having too many issues on scoring the ball with those lineups as much as we're having issues defending with the smaller lineups. You see what I'm saying? It's like we'll forego our ability to score because it gives us rebounding and it gives us a better look on the defensive end. And then whatever points that we're not able to make shooting the ball, we're able to get out of guys because we're drawing fouls with the bigs. So to me, it's a good give and take for our team because we have the size and because we play well with these centers. And when we take them off the floor, even though no one else seems to see this but me, because everybody seems to love these small ball lineups, we don't tend to play as well. And that's not to say that AD can't play the center position, but as I keep telling you guys, he's not a great rebounder. And being that he was dealing with the hand, it made him even less of an effective player out there tonight. So, look, the thing about AD for me right now is I think what's getting to him is the idea that people keep saying he's injury prone. It's getting to him. He's trying to prove to us, ever since he put on the uniform, not just this year, he's trying to prove to us that he's willing to play through any and every injury like Kobe, because he has that reputation. And I don't want him to take that too far to where he's not allowing himself to heal because he's trying to please this LA fan base who's used to this Kobe Bryant, LeBron James type, approach. It's like, no, bro, you don't have to do that. You don't have to over prove that point. I think if you're hurt, you're hurt. If you're not, you're not. Now, granted, are we all scared every time you hit the floor? Yes. I'll tell you, I'm getting tired of it, to be honest with you. Every time you hit the floor, it's like I'm wondering if it's a non-contact knee injury or something like that. So I get why everybody says you're injury prone and all that, but I just think that that's in my head. You know what I mean? That's in our heads because of the reputation that has been formed around you. I think you need to ignore that, and we need to ignore that, and we just need to be calculated and smart about how we handle these injuries for the entire team, but especially for the most important player on our defense, which is you, AD. So it's like, yeah, we can all sit up here and be all in our heads about your injury concerns, but what we can't do is be irresponsible about your injuries and have you playing through stuff you shouldn't be playing through. So that's a balance I think as a fan I want to kind of put out there because I go through it. I do every time he hits the floor. It's like an anxiety attack over here. Not a real one, but you know what I'm saying. Like it becomes a situation where you really wonder, and I think most of the Laker Nation feels that way. You know, it's just he means so much to what we need to do, and you know the narrative's out there. So we're all dealing with it, I think. But at the end of the day, AD does not need to be playing through bad injuries. He does not need to be playing through stuff that's going to get worse. And I trust our organization will find that balance that maybe the fans and maybe the player himself might be having a difficult time trying to find. Ain't nobody going to beat Kobe. And even Kobe shouldn't have been playing through some of them injuries. I'm just going to be real with you. His shooting percentage was as bad as it was because he kept trying to play through bad injuries, particularly that hand. He never let it heal properly, and it destroyed his shooting mechanics. And I think a lot of people have forgotten that. They used to talk bad about Kobe. Oh, Kobe's one of the worst shooters. He bricks everything. It's because he was trying his hardest to play through stuff that he should not have been playing through. The real ones know. So I don't want AD to take that path. I don't want to see Zach LaVine take that path, or any of these players that are playing through these injuries necessarily take that path. It's cool to be tough. If you got it, you can go. But some things can get worse. And if a guy sees a wrap, remember we talked about this. If a guy sees your hand wrapped up or something like that, you know he's going to swipe at it. If you got a shoulder injury, you know he's going to bump that. So I would let it heal. So I hope that the Lakers rest AD. I know these games are starting to pile up in terms of these losses, these early season losses. They do matter. But I hate to say it, but, you know, we're just going to have to work through our issues without worrying about these games in terms of wins and losses, because we have bigger fish to fry, and that's our health. We're getting hit with more injuries than most teams, and now the COVID protocol is starting to kick in. Who knows who's going to be snatched from our team, just like players are being snatched from different teams. We just have to find a way to weather the storm, I think. I'm hopeful that Kendrick Nunn is closer to coming back than, you know, and is ready to go. I think Travis is going to take some little more time, but, you know, that's really what it is for us. We just got to get healthy, man. I don't know where THT is in terms of his conditioning, but once we get all those players back, then you'll see what this thing's about. You know, we'll see what it's about. But right now, we're running thin. And that's why I'm so proud of guys like Kent Bazemore and HBK, the way that they're playing out there. You know what I mean? Carmelo Anthony, our bench is just giving us so much. You know what I mean? Our two bigs, DJ and Dwight, they're all coming in and playing hard. Avery Bradley, you know what I mean? So in a game like this where everybody's going to be sitting up laughing about how we choked away the lead, you know, that's a very important part of what happened out there tonight. But what I saw was just guys really, really, really trying to just overcompensate for all these damn injuries. That's what I saw. And we're not that good of a defensive team to begin with. So when you start having injuries and you have issues with gelling, it's hard to begin that process of gelling when everybody's in and out of lineup. So that's what I kind of... Frank Vogel is on the clock, right? I'm saying that because I believe it, but I also understand that, put it like this, he's on the clock with everybody, but not necessarily with me, because I know exactly what he's dealing with. And so it's not really appropriate for me, in understanding that, to get on him like I think everybody else gonna get on him, and like I think it would make sense to get on him if I'm just looking at it in a vacuum. But I'm not. I'm looking at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is he's missing some key pieces. Until we get THT back, until we get Bron back, until we get et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then his system, whatever it is he has in mind, is just not going to be able to be executed. So when you have missing pieces from all over the place, and really the whole thing is supposed to be a collective, and you're developing it right now, you see what I'm saying? It's like, not only are you missing pieces, but you're still in the stages of trying to figure out who does what and where to put them and how to get it all to come together. It's like, I sort of look at it like Detroit's situation. It's like Cade Cunningham just got back and he's not in shape. Their whole thing is supposed to be built around him. So that they struggle is just a byproduct of their system not even being in place to run. So it's like, these two teams, since I mentioned Detroit, I'm not going to get into them, but I'll just say these two teams are going to look a lot better in the second half of the season than they do right now. Now, where they'll be in the standings, very different places, obviously. But I'm telling you, those are two particular teams in this league that just, you're not seeing them at all. Their system hasn't even been developed, and what it is that they do isn't actually possible yet. So, Laker fans, we have to be patient. I don't know how patient we can be, being that this is supposed to be a championship season, but I'm trying to promote patience, because I just feel like we're still very much in place to do something very special. But there are some things that we're going to have to get better at, and there are some puzzles here that we're going to have to find solutions for. And one of them is, what do we do about Russell's turnover situation, his decision making down the stretch? How do we get the most out of him and be respectful of him while being considerate of everybody else and putting them all in a position to win? How do we that's what I think Frank and LeBron are going to have to figure out, and the guys are going to have to figure out. Russell Westbrook is an amazing talent, and he's finding his way. But what we saw out there tonight was yet another loss that basically is going to be accredited to him turning the ball over. And I know it's not that simple. I hate to be that guy, because I'm so much smarter than that as it pertains to basketball. But some things just really are a lowest common denominator type of thing. And the fact of the matter is, we get some of them shots back. If we run a play in that situation where he's driving down at the end of the game, instead of that stuff that he did, if we run a good play, the way that Melo was shooting, the way that HBK had just hit a shot, the way that AD was able to kind of have size down there, I think we would have got a score in that play. In that final play, where also, aside from that, where, we came down and just, Russell Westbrook just jacked up a shot. We had the ball in his hands with 6 seconds to go. We could have ran some type of play. We could have did some things. I felt like a timeout should have been called in both of those situations, and I just felt like we missed an opportunity to win the game by just doing the things that you do when you lose games habitually. I hate to say it, but it is what it is, Just like I know there are ways to win, there are ways to lose, and we did all the things we needed to do to lose that basketball game tonight. And look, let's be honest. OKC has 2 wins on the season. They're both against us. We had a 22-point lead and a 19-point lead in both of those games. We lost those games. One was in their gym, one was in ours. Both was without LeBron. Both of them came down to Russell Westbrook's decision-making. Both of them could be credited to losses to him. I'm sorry for saying it that way, because it takes a whole team. But at the end of the day, lowest common denominator simply comes down to what happened. And what happened was, we had opportunities to win the game, and we blew it. We had opportunities to rebound the ball better, and we just didn't have centers on the floor to do so. And a lot of that is on Vogel, man. I mean, it is. Russell's only out there doing what you let him do. Guys are only out there on the floor not able to do what they're not able to do because you didn't put the guys on the floor that could do those things on the floor. I mean, it really does come down to that kind of stuff, man. So, yeah, this is much on Frank Vogel as it is Russell Westbrook. But it ain't on Carmelo Anthony. It ain't on Kent Bazemore. Those guys contributed to the loss, of course, but they did a lot of good things out there. It ain't on HBK, And that's what it really comes down to. You want to say great things about everybody, but your eyes just tell you what you see, and that's all you can give to people. So that's my position, man. My name is BDF44. It's Lakers for life. I'm confident we're going to win the championship at some point, if not this year, with this group next year. You know what I mean? But we have got to get healthy. We have got to figure out our defense. And most importantly, beyond everything else, we have got to get Russell Westbrook learning the things that he needs to learn so that he can be the head of the snake that he wants to be. You know, if you're going to be our point guard, listen, man, we've had some of the best players ever play the game play point guard. You got one of them on the team right now. If you want to be a point guard, you have to make good decisions. It ain't about anxiety. It ain't about, you know, ego. It ain't about nothing. It's just about execution, bro. That's it. And that's the Laker way. And I think you know that about as well as I do. My name is BDL44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.